Uncharted Movie is scheduled to be theatrically released by Sony Pictures Releasing in the United Kingdom on February 11, 2022, and later in the United States on February 18th in IMAX, Dolby Cinema and 4DX. Uncharted is an action-adventure film directed by Ruben Fleischer from a screenplay by Ralph Lee Judkins, based on a video game series of the same name developed by Naughty Dog. The film stars Tom Holland as Nathan Drake and Mark Wahlberg as his mentor Victor Sullivan, with Sophia Ali, Tati Gabriel, and Antonio Banderas in supporting roles. Some of you who are aware about the movie but may not be aware of the games, in this video I will do a quick summary of the entire game series. Uncharted is a series of action-adventure games created by Amy Hennig. The games are developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for PlayStation consoles. The main series of games follows Nathan Drake, a treasure hunter who travels across the world to uncover various historical mysteries. The main series began with Uncharted Drake's Fortune, released on the PlayStation 3 in 2007, followed by its sequels Uncharted 2 Amongst Thieves 2009, Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception 2011, with the final installment Uncharted 4 A Thief's End released on the PlayStation 4 in 2016. A prequel, Uncharted Golden Abyss, was released for Sony's PlayStation Vita handheld system in 2011, followed by the card game spin-off Uncharted Fight for Fortune in 2012. A standalone game to the series, Uncharted The Lost Legacy, was released in 2017 with Chloe Frazer as the game's playable protagonist. The series has broken several sales records. The first installment was a member of the PlayStation Essentials range, having shipped over 2.6 million copies worldwide. Uncharted 2 was the highest-selling game in the month of its release, and by the end of their life cycles, the games combined sold over 13 million copies by 2011. Sales for Uncharted 3 were revealed to have been over double that of its predecessor by Naughty Dog's product marketing manager Asad Qizilbash, which far exceeded their expectations, and the game eventually helped bring the Uncharted series to verified sales of over 17 million copies worldwide. Prior to the release of the fourth main installment, Sony revealed the Uncharted series has sold over 28 million copies worldwide. Uncharted 4 is the best-selling installment of the series to date, with over 15 million individual copies sold, making it one of the best-selling PlayStation 4 games of all time. Sales occurred, which included from the Lost Legacy expansion pack, in December 2017 panel in celebration of the 10-year anniversary of the series at the PlayStation Experience event, revealed that the series has sold 41.7 million units globally. The series has been universally acclaimed and commercially successful, having shipped more than 41 million units, making it one of the best-selling video game franchises of all time. The main series has been widely credited by critics and video game publications for raising the standards of single-player video games, praising it for its high production values, quality in storytelling, character design and animation, voice acting, realistic graphics, technical innovation, musical score, gameplay mechanics, and delivering an enjoyable cinematic gaming experience to players. The series has often been likened to Hollywood-produced action-adventure films. The critical and commercial success of the Uncharted games have been pivotal to the success of PlayStation during the 7th and 8th generation of video game consoles, and has helped elevate Naughty Dog's reputation to a highly respected video game developer in the industry. Drake's Fortune, the first game in the series, was released for PlayStation 3 in November 2007. The system carried the following two installments of the main series, following a deal between Naughty Dog and Sony Computer Entertainment to exclusively release the franchise on Sony systems. Among Thieves was published in 2009, and the creative team were afforded a greater license to utilize a larger amount of the system's random access memory due to an improved proprietary engine. It subsequently introduced more locales, higher free roam and combat abilities, and a larger map. Drake's Deception, released in 2011, brought upon this aspect while it also added an improved online multiplayer mode. The following main installment, A Thief's End, was published on PlayStation 4 and focused on realism and detail. The last in the series to feature the main protagonist, it added driving elements as well as improving on other gameplay aspects such as stealth and role-playing, and comprehensive upgrades to multiplayer. It was released to massive financial success, breaking multiple records. A free-to-play game for iOS and Android titled Fortune Hunter was released to tie in with A Thief's End. Golden Abyss was published in 2011, and is the first in a series to be released on PlayStation Vita, marking the series' first on a handheld console. It is considered a prequel to the main series, although some developers have stated that it acts as a separate original story. In 2012, a turn-based card game titled Fight for Fortune was released. It was developed by One Loop Games and contained interactive elements suitable for the Vita. The Nathan Drake Collection is a remastered collection of the series' first 3 installments and was ported to PlayStation 4 by Bluepoint Games in October 2015. It was released to compensate for the delay in production for A Thief's End, which was originally slated for release in summer 2015. The game also included a voucher for the beta for the multiplayer for A Thief's End. The games feature enhancements such as new trophies, an in-game photo mode, and improved textures and gameplay. The multiplayer modes from Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 are excluded. It received mostly positive reviews, with most praising the technical improvements and visual enhancements. The game was offered for free as part of Sony's Play at Home initiative during the COVID-19 pandemic in April to May 2020. The Lost Legacy was released as a standalone expansion to A Thief's End and marks the first entry in the series not to feature Drake. It features the characters Chloe Frazer and Nadine Ross, who previously appeared in Among Thieves and Drake's Deception, and A Thief's End respectively. It was released on PlayStation 4 in 2017. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, a remastered version of A Thief's End and The Lost Legacy, was released on January 28, 2022 for PlayStation 5. A Microsoft Windows version in development by Iron Galaxy will be released later this year in 2022. In Uncharted Drake's Fortune, the game is set off the coast of Panama, in the Amazon rainforest, and an uncharted island off the coast of South America. The second entry in the franchise, Uncharted 2 Amongst Thieves, was the first in the series to experiment with several locales. The game is set in the snow-capped mountain landscapes of the Tibetan Plateau, a museum in Istanbul, the jungles of Borneo, and the urban landscapes of Nepal. Subsequent games followed this concept, with Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, featuring the streets of London and Colombia, as well as a chateau in France, a castle in Syria, a city in Yemen, and the sprawling deserts of the Rub al-Khali. Uncharted 4 features a Panamanian jail, a cathedral in Scotland, several locations in Madagascar, and many uncharted islands in the Indian Ocean not far from Africa. Boston and New Orleans are also included, in both the past and present respectively. The prequel game, Uncharted Golden Abyss, features a dig site and several other locales set in the forests of Panama, while the standalone expansion Uncharted The Lost Legacy features a locale set in and around the mountain ranges of Western Ghats in India, as well as a small bazaar and a city in Tamil Nadu. Many of the locations represented were extensively researched for the series. The development team organized field research trips with tour guides and architectural historians and captured many photos and hours of video footage to properly reflect the settings. The two main characters of the games, Nathan Drake, will be played by Tom Holland. Nathan is portrayed as a professional treasure hunter with a shady background. He is physically fit, highly intelligent, self-educated in history and various languages, and a supposed descendant of Sir Francis Drake. Naughty Dog gave Drake a very strong personality, as they did not want him to act blandly, and so he often thinks out loud and comments and complains on the absurdity of his situations. Although naturally handsome, Drake's appearance is generic and not excessively muscular, usually appearing in a plain shirt and jeans to portray the everyman persona. North also strongly mixed in his own personality with Drake's, ad-libbing portions of the character's dialogue and improvising numerous scenes. Victor Sullivan, who will be played by Mark Wahlberg, is a former US Navy officer who is able to navigate planes and submarines. He is also able to engage in similar gun battles as Drake and is adept at star-based navigation. Sullivan is Drake's mentor and father figure. He picked him up as a wandering orphan in Colombia. Naughty Dog also designed him to fit the everyman persona, as he clads himself in odd Guayabera-style shirts, khaki pants, and smokes cigars. He is also constantly in debt and often relies on other people to fund the pair's adventures. Mark Wahlberg was originally set to star as Nathan Drake when the film was in development in 2010. Sony Computer Entertainment America released the first of a 4-part motion comic series adventure called Uncharted Eye of Indra in October 23, 2009. It is a prequel to Uncharted Drake's Fortune. The second part was released on November 25th, while the third and fourth parts released simultaneously on December 7th. a motion comic adaptation of the prologue of Uncharted Drake's Fortune, starting with the discovery of Francis Drake's coffin and after the first encounter with Gabriel Roman. An Uncharted comic book was released by DC Comics around the time Uncharted 3 came out. It was released on November 30, 2011 as part of a 6-issue miniseries. In the story, a quest for the legendary Amber Room launches Nathan Drake on a journey to the center of the earth. A novel titled Uncharted: The Fourth Labyrinth was published in October 2011. The novel is written by Christopher Golden and published by Del Rey Books. Now, a quick review of the main games. Uncharted Drake's Fortune is the first game in the Uncharted series and was released in November 2007 for PlayStation 3. Combining action-adventure and platforming events with a third-person perspective, the game follows Nathan Drake, the supposed descendant of the explorer Sir Francis Drake, as he seeks the lost treasure of El Dorado with the help of journalist Elena Fisher and mentor Victor Sullivan. The development of Uncharted Drake's Fortune began in 2005 and saw Naughty Dog altering their approach to development, as they sought to create a humanized video game that was distinct from their other entries. Uncharted Drake's Fortune is notable for being one of the first video games to feature force feedback vibration, and the development team found influence for many of the game's aesthetic elements from film, pulp magazines, and movie serials. Extensively marked as a PlayStation exclusive, Uncharted Drake's Fortune received generally favorable reviews, with many critics citing its technical achievements, voice acting, characters, story, musical score, attention to detail, and its high production values similar to that of summer blockbuster films. Some were critical of the graphical issues, length, vehicle sections, and marked difficulty. The game went on to sell 1 million copies after its first 10 weeks of release and helped propel Naughty Dog to the forefront as a video game developer. It was followed by a sequel titled Uncharted 2: Among Thieves in 2009 and was re-released on PlayStation 4 as part of Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection. Uncharted 2: Among Thieves was developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It is the second game in the Uncharted series and was released in October 2009 for PlayStation 3. Set 2 years after the events of Drake's Fortune, the single-player story follows Nathan Drake, who partners with Chloe Frazer and Elena Fisher as they search for the Sintamani Stone and city of Shambhala. Development for Uncharted 2 began immediately following the critical and commercial success of the first entry. The development team drew inspiration from explorer Marco Polo, and specifically from his expeditions through archipelagos and Eastern Asia. Naughty Dog also aimed to improve the game's proprietary engine, creating the game to run exclusively on the company's Naughty Engine 2.0 system. This allowed the developers to record extensive motion capture and more in-game cinematic sequences, as well as include an online multiplayer component, a first for the series. Uncharted 2 received critical acclaim for its elaborate set pieces, character design, storytelling, graphics, technical innovation, and gameplay mechanics. It received Game of the Year accolades from numerous publications and award events, and is considered to be one of the greatest video games ever made. It also enjoyed great commercial success with over 6 million copies sold worldwide. The game was followed by a sequel titled Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception in 2011. Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception is the third game in the Uncharted series and was released in November 2011 for the PlayStation 3. The story follows Nathan Drake, who partners with his mentor Victor Sullivan as they search for the legendary lost city of Iram, whilst competing with a mercenary group led by Sullivan's former employer, Catherine Marlowe. Development for Uncharted 3 began in 2010. For the first time in the company's history, Naughty Dog split into two teams. While one team developed Uncharted 3, the other developed The Last of Us. Development was approached with incorporating locations distinct from the series' previous titles, with the team deciding on a desert and urban areas. Naughty Dog also aimed to upgrade the game's openness and realism, which was done through increasing the volume of motion capture and voice acting. The development team also sought to improve the multiplayer system, which included new competitive and cooperative modes. While the game is also notable for being one of the first to carry the new online PlayStation Network Pass feature. Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception received critical acclaim for its voice acting, graphics, writing, story, and cinematic quality. Some criticized its linearity and found it inferior to Uncharted 2. The game received Game of the Year accolades from numerous publications and award events, and was a commercial success, selling over 6 million copies worldwide, making it one of the best-selling PlayStation 3 games. It was followed by a sequel titled Uncharted 4: A Thief's End in 2016 and was also re-released on PlayStation 4 as part of Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection. Uncharted Golden Abyss is a 2011 action-adventure game developed by Bend Studio and published by Sony Computer Entertainment as a launch title for a PlayStation Vita. The game released in Japan in 2011 and other regions in 2012. Golden Abyss is a prequel to the series, taking place before the events of Uncharted Drake's Fortune. The story revolves around Nathan Drake as he becomes involved in a search for the lost city of Quivira and is aided by fellow treasure hunter Marissa Chase. Gameplay combines action-adventure with platforming events, with players solving puzzles and fighting enemies using cover-based third-person shooting. The entire project was overseen by original developer Naughty Dog, with Bend Studio receiving assets from the first two Uncharted titles and getting access to the motion capture facilities. The game was released in January 2011 alongside the Vita. Golden Abyss debuted to strong sales and generally positive critical reception. Journalists praised its graphics, voice performances, and recreation of Uncharted gameplay on the platform. Criticism focused on its storyline and implementation of Vita-specific controls. To date, the game remains exclusive to the platform as it was left out of the PlayStation 4's Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection due to the standalone nature of its narrative. Uncharted: Fight for Fortune is a 2012 digital collectible card game co-developed by Bend Studio and One Loop Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation Vita. A spin-off of the Uncharted series, players engage in turn-based matches using cards themed after characters and elements of the series. The original release featured both a single-player campaign and asynchronous multiplayer, but the latter was closed down in 2019 with the Vita's online functions. The concept was created by Bend Studio after they finished development on Uncharted Golden Abyss in early 2012, with the aim of breaking new ground for the series. Following release, it was supported by two downloadable content packs featuring cards themed after the second and third Uncharted titles. It saw mixed reviews from journalists who enjoyed its gameplay but saw a lack of content and game balance. Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection is a 2015 remaster of the first three games in the Uncharted series, developed by Bluepoint Games and published by Sony Computer Entertainment. It was released for the PlayStation 4 on October 7, 2015. The three games follow treasure hunter Nathan Drake as he travels across the world to uncover various historical mysteries. The three games were originally developed by Naughty Dog for the PlayStation 3. The collection received generally positive reviews from critics who deemed it the worthy remaster of the original trilogy, although the omission of multiplayer and lack of additional content received some criticism. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is a 2016 action-adventure game which is the fourth main entry in the Uncharted series. Set several years after the events of Uncharted 3, players control Nathan Drake, a former treasure hunter, coaxed out of retirement by his presumed dead brother Samuel. With Nathan's longtime partner, Victor Sullivan, they search for clues for the location of Henry Avery's long-lost treasure. Players solve puzzles and use firearms, melee combat, and stealth to combat enemies. In the online multiplayer mode, up to 10 players engage in cooperative and competitive modes. Development of Uncharted 4 began in 2011, soon after the release of Uncharted 3. It was led by creative director Amy Hennig and game director Justin Richmond. Development was hampered in 2014 due to Hennig and Richmond's departure from Naughty Dog. The team sought to incorporate elements of open-world gameplay with larger levels to encourage free-roaming exploration and combat. The relationship between Nathan and Elena was central, and Naughty Dog attempted to humanize them more than in previous games. A Thief's End was released in May 2016 for the PlayStation 4. It was the first Naughty Dog game developed specifically for the PlayStation 4. The team took advantage of the hardware to process larger dynamic environments. Following its announcement in November 2013, A Thief's End was widely anticipated. The game was acclaimed by critics, praising its gameplay, narrative, emotional depth, visuals, and multiplayer. Several reviewers found the game a worthy conclusion to Nathan's story. It won several year-end accolades, including Game of the Year awards from several gaming publications, critics, and Game Award ceremonies. With over 15 million copies sold, it is the highest-selling Uncharted game and one of the best-selling PlayStation 4 games. A standalone expansion, Uncharted: The Lost Legacy, was released in 2017. A remastered version alongside The Lost Legacy as part of the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection was released in January 2022 for PlayStation 5 and will be released later this year for Microsoft Windows. Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is a 2017 action-adventure game which is a standalone expansion to Uncharted 4. Players control Chloe Frazer, who seeks the tusk of Ganesh in the Western Ghats mountain ranges of India with the help of ex-mercenary Nadine Ross, and prevent a ruthless warlord and his army of insurgents from igniting a civil war in the country. It is the first Uncharted game not to feature series protagonist Nathan Drake. Like other Uncharted games, The Lost Legacy is played from a third-person perspective. Players use firearms and can use melee combat and stealth to defend against enemies. Players solve puzzles incorporating several platformer elements to advance the narrative and navigate the game world on foot or by vehicle. Chloe, a supporting character who appeared in previous Uncharted games as a friend, love interest, and associate to Nathan Drake, is the focus of the game, with the story, design, and gameplay elements reflecting her character. Over the years, the Uncharted series has consistently delivered exciting third-person adventures full of action and impeccable detail, all the while balancing emotional narratives about love and loss. Sony Pictures is clearly hoping Uncharted will turn into a long-running, successful movie franchise, which is why it has cast Tom Holland and set the first film years before the events of the first game. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will enjoy my other video essays. Like this video if you liked it. Follow me on Instagram to see my drawings and fan art. Subscribe to my channel to support me in my journey. My name is Sai, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!